Resolved that the Board of Education of the Cooperstown Central School District, upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, does hereby appoint Mr. Beverly Murch as tutor 4 hours per week to commence on or about April 9th, 2015, and expire on or about June 25th, 2015. Be it further resolved that she be paid an hourly rate of $25. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Resolved that the Board of Education of the Cooperstown Central School District, upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, does hereby approve the addition of Quinn Berniger, non-certified, to the substitute teacher list. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries.
Just longer than
Yeah.
a few items that we obviously talked about it. Issues that were acted on, but the additional information that came out was mentioned that because of construction, all of the summer courses that otherwise would be in the elementary school are going to be in the high school. And we talked about the option for wait list for special for driver ed, and we reviewed the various screening committees that are procedures for the screening committees that will be in place for the administrative items.
Okay, thank you very much. Curriculum and instruction is next.
I can do the first one.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Let's see where we are.
Okay, under curriculum, we need a motion to approve the application of a robotics course in the technology education department proposed as recommended by Mr. Cring.
Second.
Any discussion?
Can we talk a little bit about how new courses, the process by which new courses are brought to the board, and what references there are in the entire instructional landscape of things? I didn't see a lot of, in this I saw a lot of what was going to be taught, but I didn't see a lot of why or links to other areas of the curriculum. Open it up to anyone who wants to jump in on that.
My understanding is any of them can be brought to the board.
There were a lot that were brought to the board.
Yeah.
We've had with our, with an emphasis on STEM-related coursework, we have encouraged certain individuals, particularly Mr. Smith, to develop some coursework that we deem would be appropriate for students in that area, as well as, and we feel that it would also open up additional opportunities for those students. Some of the coursework with regard to its application, I'm sure that Brad is very adept in providing a well-rounded course and making those connections. As Stephanie mentioned before, when we had CP that went into his classroom, the information, the brochures, and the demonstrations that he provided were very comprehensive and certainly compelling. The number of students who are signing up for these courses and signing up for elective coursework at the high school level in general, we're very encouraged about in this coming year's schedule, 15-16 schedule. As you recall, we had some concerns with the first iteration of a 10-period day with a number of study halls that have been populated by students that were seeking to offer coursework that provides them meaningful opportunities to advance themselves and to explore some other areas of curricular study as well.
There's a little bit of a dance back and forth too, because once the course is described, the other question is, are there any students who are interested in taking it? So then it goes back out again, and then it comes back in again to see, for example, the coding class that was
a huge response for the coding course.
So it's sort of a back and forth of everybody's input, really.
Looking at the, and we did have, we were very pleased at the response that we had from the departments that we approached. Obviously, we can only approach departments that have any room or any capacity to offer the coursework. If we've already utilized all the FTEs for core coursework, and we don't have any room to do that. But those areas that we knew that we could, we asked those individuals to submit proposals. Again, the curriculum committee looked at them as a preliminary. We then went back to the folks in the guidance department. They went out and described, with some fairly general descriptions and talked to students about them. We looked, as Marcy said, at the number of at least initial responses for students who had some interest and then made some decisions from there. We're now in the process of going back through and asking those individuals whose courses were fairly heavily subscribed to that we think fit with the rest of the curriculum to develop whole proposals for those, and that's what these are. Thank you.
So along those lines, we resolve, we need a motion. Did we vote?
This is discussion on the robotics motion.
Oh, sorry,
We didn't
yeah.
vote, just need to
So
vote.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
Okay. And we need a motion to approve the songwriting and musical composition course that the music department has proposed, as recommended by Mr. Cring.
Is there a second? Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. And the committee report. I have that. Now I'm up. Ms. Strang shared data of our region's results compared to New York State. We'll be discussing those in great detail in the near future. She also provided the ELA test refusal information, and our overall opt-out percentage was 61%. We reviewed the two new course options, the robotics and songwriting and musical composition that we just voted on. And that was the meeting.
Regarding the regions, I know there'll be a lot of internal array, but I must you want to note in your segment that trigonometry regions was the top 600 some odd schools in the state, and 4 of the 12 regions we came in the top 10%.
Very, very remarkable. Actually, I believe we noted with the altitude trig region that certainly very clearly high-performing cohort of students because of their results in algebra, and then last year in geometry being at the top of the state, but indicating, I believe, we said that there were 10 schools that were tied for the top position,
Right.
Cooperstown being one last year, and when those students are moved out to algebra 2 trig, that there are only 5 schools that are tied for the top spot with that region's exam. So those students and those teachers certainly be commended. We're very pleased with that.
Okay, public relations, Mr. Marietta.
We had a meeting on April 10th, and basically we discussed some of the testing concerns around, especially field testing. We reviewed the state budget, I guess the future implication, recap of the assessment night. We talked about, like some of the other committees, the elementary principal interview committee process. Talked about some videos that communication services is going to be developing for this about school programs. Talked about our website revamp and kind of the timeline for that, which will be more of a focus in the next school year. Talked a little bit more about our email newsletter, the advertising policy. Talked about that. The revision of that policy that we just made. And then we also discussed related to the advertising policy in the Booster Club. We talked, or discussed the affiliated organizations in a meeting that we're gonna try to pull together with those organizations, hopefully before the school year's out. May, late May, early June, yeah.
Pull up here.
I've got it.
It's slow. I'm waiting for it over there. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll start. April 27th is the New York State History Day. April 28th, the 8th grade Parents' Night at 7 p.m. at the Junior Senior High School. May 1st, the District Art Show begins at Cooperstown Art Association in the Village Library on Main Street. May 5th, Bassett Healthcare School-Based Health Center Community Advisory Committee, meeting at 3. Library at the Junior Senior High School. May 7th, annual budget hearing, 6:30 at the library in the Junior Senior High School. May 11th is Meet the Candidates Night, 6:30 in the cafeteria at the Junior Senior High School. Sponsored by the League of Women Voters of the Cooperstown area. May 13th, regular Board of Education meeting at 7 p.m. right here in the library. May 19th, budget vote and school board election, 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. at the high school, room 304, 305. May 19th is the junior, also, it's junior high spring concert, 7:30 at the high school auditorium. May 22nd through the 25th, no school, Memorial Day weekend. And May 27th is the regular board meeting at 7 p.m. right here in the library.
Okay, organizations on the meetings. On May 7th, FOMA is meeting at 7 p.m. at the Junior Senior High School Faculty Room. May 11th, we have the All Sports Booster Club at 7:30 in the high school faculty room. May 12th, the PTA meeting at 7 p.m. in the elementary library. And on May 19th, CP board meeting at 5 p.m. at the Junior Senior High School library. Okay. Now we have administrative matters.
All right, Ms. Gorman, we're going to start with you, since you have a limited time to give principal reports. We want you to have the opportunity with a fresh slate.
I have a good one. So I'm pleased to let you know that out of thousands of schools worldwide, Cooperstown Elementary School has been named 2014-2015 as a 2014-2015 Mix-It-Up Model School. What's a Mix-It-Up Model School? I'll tell you. Mix-It-Up Model Schools embrace respect and inclusiveness as core values. They mix it up all year long. These schools have done an exemplary job of organizing, publicizing, and implementing Mix-It-Up at lunch day by sharing their recipes for success. Model schools are beacons for other schools striving for inclusiveness. This is under the Teaching Tolerance program, but Christine McBurdy-Hultz and our teacher aides and our staff work very hard at this. And it's not just a Mix-It-Up lunch day, there are activities throughout the year. But we're very proud of this, and I believe Christine and the teacher aides and the staff have been doing this for close to 8 years, so that's awesome. Okay, so the ELA exams are boxed up and they're good to go. Today was the first day of the math exam, and 2 more days of that. It's interesting because for the ELA, a significant amount of students really utilized all their time. It was quite challenging. And for math, a significant amount of students didn't utilize all their time. We're finished early, so not sure. We'll see how that pans out. The students who refused to take the exam were well behaved, and they utilized their time well. Our kindergartners are going to the Farmers Museum on the 27th. Our mileage club will begin in May. I'm not sure if I reported this, I don't think I did, but this year's PARK campaign, our students read 1,444 hours, which is 3 times more than last year. Shout out to Mrs. White and Mr. Hodgson, who campaigned, got volunteers, and worked with CDFA, so we're excited about that. Math Madness, I believe, is May 8th. Is that? Okay, it's been changing, but Mrs. Butler is ready for that, and we're going to go for that. And our 2nd graders have gone back to the Thanksgiving home for spring songs. they're getting ready to do that on the 24th and to bond some more with our friends there.
Thank you. Mr. Cring.
Several items in the junior, senior high school as well. I'd just like to start off by mentioning at the beginning of our transition program for our current sixth graders moving into seventh grade. A few weeks ago, we had our sixth grade parents' night. The attendance was very high, over 90% of our incoming parents were in attendance that night, where we mock a schedule, and we'll follow that with several other transition activities for our incoming seventh graders once we get into June. And as Mrs. Birch mentioned, we will have our 8th to 9th grade parents' night next Tuesday. That'll also be in the auditorium. I would like to just parallel Ms. Gorman's comments on state tests. They had the exact same experience in this building, and scoring will be about to start, and day 2 of the math test is tomorrow. Other activities, fashion show was just over a week ago in our auditorium with several of our high school designers, and that's taken place for about seven years now. A couple great opportunities that we've had year after year in our school district, and I think we do a great job with providing our students with public speaking opportunities, and I'm always really wowed with how well the students do at these two activities that I'm going to talk about, with several others. A few weeks ago, we had our annual poetry slam contest, and that was the 6th one. Our winner this year was Mary Iverson, and we had a tie for 2nd place with Regina Lassiter and Ethan Russell. And we just completed our Ruggles competition just over a week ago. 2nd place was Joe Peterson, and in 1st place was Colin Wilcox. They're very well written and very well presented by the students, and if you ever get an opportunity to attend either one of those, I'm sure you'll be impressed. Our seniors just returned from their senior trip. A good mix of fun with also a lot of educational opportunities as students went to New York City and also Philadelphia. So all reports from students were that they had an excellent time and really were able to learn a lot of things on the trip. I do know Mr. Tolson took one of his group down a little side alley for a different educational trip, and he was really excited about, I forget, you know what that is, Dr. Rousseau? What's that?
Went to the class, museum, found a lot of murals.
So Mr. Tolson was thrilled because one of them was painted as a Batman entrance, and then it opened up and he thought the Batmobile was coming out, but it was not. We had the Jam and Jazz Coffee House last week. That's gone on for many years. Our quiz team will be leaving to go to nationals in Atlanta for this weekend's competition. We have 6 students that are going to that. If you're not familiar with our quiz team, that is an activity advised by Mr. Tim Iverson, and they compete extremely well, and they place high in all of the national competitions that they've attended over the last several years. So we look forward to hearing from them over the course of the weekend. Let's see. Just a congratulations to our high school Battle of the Books winners, Abby Cates, Alex Russo, Kristen Ratliff, and Sylvia Johnson. Also, just would like to mention that we have 10 of our students that have qualified for National History Day for the state competition. We have 2 students from our school that will be the participants in the 33rd Annual Rotary Youth Leadership Conference, which will be held in June. And finally, one more thing I should mention. Through several meetings with Cooperstown Pop Warner organization
youth football organization and our own football coaches, we're putting together an informational night on April 27th at 7 o'clock in our school cafeteria. We'll be presenting a video. We'll also be talking about current health and safety concerns. There'll be a question and answer. We'll have some sports medicine doctors there to talk about safety, age-appropriate rules, and also the beginning of what will likely be a flag football league or activity for students K through 3 that Mr. Lippett will be looking to run. So some activities to get some more of our young people involved in our football program or in our youth football program. And finally, spring sports. And that's about what I have to say, because I just keep sending reschedules to our coaches, and we are way behind, and I'm getting very nervous about what that does academically with day after day when we finally get maybe 4 sunny days in a row. But we're in a tough spot with spring sports. So the kids are chomping at the bit to get outside, as probably all of us are. That's my report.
Like, what time are Saturdays softball games?
I'm sorry?
Saturday softball games, what time does it start on?
This Saturday is away. There is a home JV game at 11, and the varsity softball is away there in Frankfurt.
Is 11 o'clock a standard start time?
We try to start them at 11 unless we think we're going to have dry, warm weather earlier. So we could go at 9 or 9:30, but I'm not comfortable with that yet. Thank you. Cring, listed on the agenda is the BOCES budget vote results. Unfortunately, I believe Alec Pinokin is in Colorado visiting her grandsons. We don't have the budget votes for BOCES, so we'll have to wait until next time. So just an update on our elementary principal interview process. We had 30 very qualified applicants for the position initially. We have been conducting screening interviews of those individuals. On May 5th, we will be holding the next round of interviews with 4 committees. One committee comprised of administrators and supervisors, another of the faculty and staff at the elementary school. The third will be one with community and PTA representatives, and the fourth will be the board and me. We hope to have a number, so probably somewhere in the ballpark of 4 to 7 qualified applicants who will participate in that evening of interviews. And if all goes well, we will have entertain feedback from those committees on the 7th, which is Thursday night, prior to the budget hearing, and hope to be able to make an announcement sometime the next week. That is our hope for that recruitment process. Of note, and if you go to the Washington Post website, they have listed the schools that are not the most competitive schools in the country, and the way that they come up with their ranking is to take the number of students who attempt either an AP advanced placement test or an international baccalaureate test, or there was one third test that we don't offer, and divide that number of students by the number of graduates to give a ranking for schools. And in New York State, Cooperstown ranks 113, and that's very good. If you go to that website, we're amongst very good company. It does not rank how students score on it, but in other words, how most challenging schools in New York or in the country, and it looking for schools who offer the opportunity and students who take advantage of the challenge of those more difficult courses. Certainly some good news. We have, and right right now, BOCES is looking to offer an opportunity, a summer opportunity, a week-long course, kind of a pre-CTE or tech educational offering to students in 7th and 8th grade. One of the offerings will be in cosmetology. The other will be in STEM and robotics strand, probably going along with the pre-engineering program, the New Visions program that they offer. That information will be going out. We have actually received it and we'll be looking to see if students are interested. I think if we do have a large number of students who would like to take advantage of it, that is something we probably want to investigate, offering transportation to over the summer.
Is that at OAOC?
It is. It is.
Is it the same guy that teaches the New Visions program?
I don't. We received at our last meeting, we talked about several of the provisions of the enacted state budget, and many of those have to do with the annual professional performance review and the modifications that are associated with that. As I mentioned in our last meeting, there is a June 30 deadline for the State Education Department to respond with recommendations. I just received this afternoon, actually this evening, a memo from Ken Wagner. As you recall, there was also the requirement for school districts to come up with a revised APPR plan by November 15th or face the possibility of losing aid, which today brought an interesting discussion, since the GEA technically is not additional aid, but aid that has been owed for a number of years. Does that count in that calculation? I would think that it probably does, but technically it should not. This updated, interesting academic question, I thought. This updated guidance from the State Education Department indicates that districts really are going to need to submit those plans by September 1, so that they can be fully reviewed and approved by November 15th. Furthermore, the State Education Department, as required by the budget agreement, is planning on, or the Board of Regents is planning on holding a learning summit on teacher and principal evaluation at the New York State Museum on Thursday, May 7th. And they are inviting participants from the statewide parent, teacher, principal, superintendent, and school board member organizations, as well as practitioners, experts in the field of education, economics, and psychometrics, with a specific focus on providing recommendations to the department. There will also be a link, I believe, for public comment, so anyone wishing to make comment on that, we will post that on our website and make that available.